Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 3. What?
Did she tell you this?
That she was engaged?
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you Brooke was engaged. I heard Brooke was engaged first. Then I heard Sam was getting married. I didn't know Sam was engaged. She got married yesterday. Yeah, I thought you knew. I'm sorry. I thought you knew. This is real behind the scenes, so y'all just heard some stuff that behind the scenes.
You're not live streaming this, are you?
No, live streaming. No, this is for our Patreon page. Let me hear you, baby.
Hey,
You sounded so excited. You sounded so bend a little bit towards your mouth, some. No, not that close.
Here's the problem. I gotta be able to put my coffee cup in.
Can you fit your coffee cup in there? So the audio might have changed. Oof.
I don't know.
I might have to adjust that camera a little bit. What do you think about that camera view? It just took your face and give me that back. Are you? All right, I gotta
notice me as a person anymore, right?
What? It should notice you as a person.
I just did my face.
All right, hold on. Let me see if we're ready to go.
Is it done yet?
No, it's still on you.
No, it took you.
It took me?
Yeah. It's because you keep walking around. It is hot. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten a hot cup of coffee.
Shouldn't have got what?
What'd you just do? You turn the whole thing off?
Nope. Just lowered it so it wasn't so much coming.
Your screen just went off.
What screen just went off? This one? Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
Oh, it's still there.
So you don't have to reconnect it.
Why don't you just turn the other thing around?
This? Because I can't control it from there.
This is very complicated.
Because I set up for other stuff. So that was for my set up for my live stream on my live Zoom yesterday. I have to get it set up for my live Zoom, my live YouTube tomorrow.
So do we need to leave it?
So you what?
Do we need to leave it?
Delete what?
Leave your setup.
Oh, you look good, girl. This is behind the scenes, so that's perfect. I don't like that angle. I'm not using that.
What? Oh, how many cameras do you have going on?
I was going to do this, but I'm not doing this now.
What?
This other angle. It looks bad. That looks better. What do you think?
I don't know what it was before, but it's fine.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mr. Brown, and she is
Mrs. Brown.
Mrs. Brown, my wife. Not just my beautiful wife, my intelligent wife, my considerate wife. I've listened to some
We
past.
should podcast more often just so you can say nice things about
I
me.
say nice things all the time, but but I listened to some podcasts and I kept saying, my beautiful wife, you are beautiful, but that's one aspect of you. You're also amazing in a lot of different ways. So
Thank you.
thanks for doing another podcast with me.
You're welcome. I don't know what to say.
It may get a little hot in here because I had to turn off the air conditioner, make sure you weren't getting extra air. So we have to do this quick podcast so you don't burn up and complain about doing podcasts, so we can do more and more of them, even though it's hot in the studio. But we are actually recording behind the scenes of this one. We're not recording these video-wise because we just can't afford to right now.
Because it's too much work.
Well, we don't have enough people on our team to edit these videos as well as all the other videos we want to edit. So, but we are doing a behind the scenes for our Patreon. And if we get enough Patreon sponsors, I think we will start recording the podcast in the video form as well. But you know me, I want to do everything at one time and get overwhelmed. So this way, just the people who support us can see this. And if you don't know about Patreon, go ahead and visit our website, lifewiththebrowns.com, and find out how you can become a patron through Patreon.
Sounds good.
Yeah, Patreon's a platform where you can help support content creators like ourselves to continue to create more and more content. And so if you do that, we will be able to start doing more. Just straight up the entire podcast on video. With that said, let's jump into this podcast because we want to say thank you to all of you who already support us, but also a special group of people, our sponsors. This episode is sponsored in part by Sutherland DDS. And I have to say DDS very clearly because I listened to the part by someone say DDS.
The dentist.
The dentist. Sutherland
it just
DDS.
means the dentist.
Yeah, Sutherland DDS. They are a great dentists. They take care of my teeth. And I remember when you said that you didn't like dentists, but when you went there, you really had a great positive experience. So I think that's why we stayed with them, because they take care of our teeth.
Yeah, they're great. I actually have an appointment this week. And they love to see you smile in two ways. Number one, take care of your teeth. Number two, the great customer service they provide. So check them out. If you need a dentist or if you want to change dentists, or just check them out anyway, just visit yourreddingdentist.com. Once again, that's yourreddingdentist.com. So with that said, we're going to jump into the episode on, we always talk about what we're going to talk about. And so I think we're going to talk about in this podcast, something we talked about, and I think it was our second podcast, maybe our first podcast. We talked about the amp wheel. And someone asked, what is the amp wheel and how do you get off the amp wheel? And I think the comment of amp wheel came just from us and how we feel sometime on social media or hearing different takes on different things. And right now, we have a lot of different takes on a lot of everything, including COVID-19, wearing masks, going back to school, social justice. There's a lot of stuff we can hear from different voices, and it can put you on the amp wheel. So how would you define what is the amp wheel? Well,
are you writing to me or are you just writing? Because I'm trying to see what you're writing.
You're not supposed to. I keep trying to hide my stuff from you, and then you get more all into things. I'm just writing notes for myself.
You hide stuff from people who are nosy. All right. So how would you describe the amp wheel?
These notes are because you just changed the topic. This wasn't what you said we were going to talk about. So
well, I gave you two options.
I had previous notes for what I thought we were talking about, and you changed it.
I need some water.
So I'm on the amp wheel now.
All right. Well, let's talk about the amp wheel.
Well, the amp wheel is funny because we just said that. We just made that word up. That wasn't even something that we use. We were just trying to describe how it felt. And amp wheel was what we came up with. But to me, I think the image in my head was actually one of those little hamster wheel things that they have in the pet store. And maybe tied to that, the fact of, like, from the outside is just so clear and kind of amusing watching a hamster or mouse go on that wheel because they're not going anywhere. Like, they are just putting in so much energy and effort.
They're having fun.
I'm not sure if they're actually having fun. Part of me thinks that, like, what a cruel torture device, because they're just giving it all they got, trying to go somewhere, and they're not going anywhere.
But they're getting exercise. At least they're getting exercise.
You know, that's part of your positivity. You can look at it positively. So that was the image in my head, and probably got smashed in there with just feeling amped up about things. And so it's the amp wheel, where you're feeling all amped up about something, this like heightened energy, often negative energy, emotion, a loss of control, and just spinning, going for it. And I think to me, it includes that idea of when I realize I'm exerting a whole lot of energy and emotional effort into something, and I'm not sure that it's actually taking me anywhere.
I think, and that's what's happening to me a lot of times lately. Anyway, I have a couple friends who actually gotten rid of Facebook. They got off Instagram because I think they were getting on the amp wheel, and I feel that. Like, even just picking up my phone and I have news notifications popping up on different things, and I hear just a headline and it'll make me get on amp wheel. What are they talking about? No, that's wrong. Yeah, I get on this idea that I'm arguing with people about things in an unconstructive way where I'm getting amped up, getting all excited, but actually not going anywhere.
Well, that's one of the things with being on an amp wheel. There's only room for one person. So you're not even actually having a conversation with someone. It's one thing to invest energy and even have a really hard conversation with another person that's actually in the room with you. But a lot of this social media stuff is you on an amp wheel all by yourself. And there's plenty of people that are just like, what is this crazy person doing? That's amusing, watching you just
spin out of control.
Have fun with that.
And maybe you engage. Maybe some people actually engage and start doing it. And sometimes I'll read a bunch of the comments on different things, and I'm like, man, do I want to say anything? Is this going to go anywhere? And I see people going back and forth. And I'm like, they are amped up, and it doesn't seem like they're getting anywhere with a solution. They're being able to say something. They're getting their voice out there, but is anybody listening? And
honestly, I'm yelling at somebody that's a friend of a friend of a friend that I don't even know. And am I really spending energy to help someone grow or change their mind or even have my mind changed? Or am I just like, this is the way it is, you're stupid? And I think for me, maybe
you don't actually talk to people like that.
I don't talk to people like that, but that's a question. Do you think that's a tell that you're on the amp wheel when you start name calling? Like you're actually on the amp wheel, but then you're actually spinning out of control because you start calling names and not just dealing with an issue.
I guess I don't think about it as anybody else. I have found that idea helpful just in looking at my own behavior. I actually don't find it to be helpful for me in evaluating whether anybody else is there. To me, the image is useful in saying when I find myself putting lots of energy, and especially when my thoughts just start going, or I'm planning, or it's like this, when I notice the state that I am in around an issue, and I think it's just a helpful pause for me to say, am I actually doing something that is truly useful? Is this actually something I should be participating in? Or am I spinning a little hamster wheel? Which it's fine if I just want to do that for the fun of it, but it's kind of self-delusion to think that me doing this is helping the world in some way.
So it's not necessarily wrong to get invested and involved in something, but for you, the amp wheel is when you're out of control or getting to that place where you're inwardly just ready to just burst, or what? How would you?
It's probably connected to a discussion we want to have about just like what actually is our business and what is ours to do. But so I think there's actually lots of things. So we started with a whole social media thing, and I think it can totally, in this culture, social media can get me there where I wasn't even thinking about something. I pull open my phone, and next thing, like I'm just internally just spinning the wheel, and it was something that was not even I was not aware of, but someone somewhere in the world is all up in arms about something that I didn't even know was happening, and then next thing I know, it's a did you know and what this. I'm just mad about something that's going on somewhere in the world, and it wasn't something that I actually was carrying within myself. It was something that just got me started. So social media can do that, but I have then found, now that we've used this term, I found it useful in all sorts of other areas of life, because sometimes I will find that there will be, if I am really tired, if I haven't eaten anything, there are certain things that will get me.
I have to feed my wife.
There are certain things that will just get me like emotionally spinning in an unproductive way. And it doesn't have to be just social media. It can be all sorts of things that can just get me spinning, putting lots of effort and energy emotionally or mentally into something. I mean, even actively, I have found that there will be times where something actually in a different place in the world is bothering me. And next thing I know, I'm scrubbing my bathroom because I just need to do something. But it's a kind of doing that's not actually connected to what is bothering me. It's a way of spinning, like a true hamster wheel. So I think you can do it in physical ways too, where you just start engaging in frenetic activity for the sake of expending the energy, but stopping and saying, is this actually addressing whatever is really bothering me? And sometimes I can put the energy in all the wrong places as a way of avoiding the situation that's actually going on, or whatever is.
That's
really
interesting, because I don't see myself getting on the amp wheel. Maybe I need to examine that in other areas. It's usually just the news and social media. It's just topics that come up that I wasn't planning on. Like, I'll just pick up my phone, something will pop up, and I'll be like, all my energy and focus is going towards that when I should have been doing this. Like, I should have just not picked up my phone. And even internally, some topics just get so internally like, this is not right. I want to do something about this, but me doing something about this right now is not where I should be focusing my attention, because I was doing something about something else a minute ago. And so it can go from topic to topic to topic to topic, and I'm spinning and I'm not doing what I should be doing, answering the question, what is mine to do? But I'm allowing myself to get to a place where I'm spinning out about these other things
and I'm not productive about what I should be doing. And so for me, it's I can get on it easily because it's a hot button topic. It's somebody in Ohio. I know I keep picking Ohio who said something. And I want to refute what they said, but that's not mine to do at this moment necessarily, or really in the big picture, is it any of my business right now? I mean, I don't know. That gets me. So that kind of defines the amp wheel. When you spin out of control emotionally, energy, mentally, about something that you weren't necessarily planning to, or you weren't even engaged in, or basically may have been none of your business at the time.
Well, and that it's not productive. You're not going anywhere.
I guess it's not productive.
It's unproductive thinking, feeling, acting.
Okay.
Any of the things it could be physically unproductive, but it could be when you're just putting lots of energy into something that is totally unproductive.
Right. So how do you get off the amp wheel?
I think it depends on what it is. If it's sparked by a phone, sometimes you just need to put the phone down.
Just throw your phone away?
Yeah. Well, and I think you bring up an interesting point. I do think there are certain topics that sometimes will do that for me. I mean, you know how I feel being a woman. It only takes a certain person in our house telling me that he doesn't wash dishes because that's women's work. That will get me on the amp real quick.
That certain person is not me, by the way.
That certain person's not you. Yeah, stuff like so. There definitely are topics which it could come from social. So if somebody starts mouthing off around the same topic on social media, that will get me going. If it's within a group in our community, if it's a church, there are just any of those things, I will get on the amp wheel real quick. And it's definitely topic based. Certain things that are just
they just get you.
Yeah, and some of it is because it does truly, genuinely matter to me. And that's, again, where I think this is just helpful to me, because it's not that the issue doesn't matter. It's that I need to stop and ask myself, is the way that I'm engaging in this topic actually making a difference in a meaningful way?
All right. I think is the idea of reacting versus responding. I think for me, the amp wheel is I'm reacting, even if it's not outwardly to other people, I'm reacting inwardly, and it can dictate how I act in other areas. Like you mentioned, like I may be up, in an amp wheel about this subject that I read about just now, and now I'm in this situation. I'm not focused enough because I'm still spinning about that. And so for me, I think it's just like it's unproductive. It's not construction. It's not constructive to me as a person inwardly. So I have to be aware of the fact that I'm on the amp wheel, because if I don't know that, something's wrong with me. But how do you get off of it? I know how I get off of it.
How do you get off?
I have to consciously say to myself, stop it.
You actually just tell yourself, stop it.
I have to actually stop, like stop, drop, and roll. Like literally stop. Stop, focus on that. Ask the question. Again, we're going to talk about this later. What is mine to do? And really get clarity on what is mine to do, because I do want to do stuff about this. I want to be engaged in these areas. But right now, where can I focus my effort to make the best of my moments? And sometimes that means, like you said, put the phone down and go play with my kids. Put the phone down, go work on this thing, and literally don't allow anything else to interrupt me, because another notification might pop up. But I have to constantly tell myself to stop. So if you hear myself in the other room yelling, stop, I'm not talking to the kids, I'm talking to me.
You actually do that? You say it out loud?
Hey, stop. Just stop. Like literally, you laughing at me right now?
I just think you're cute.
I really do. I have to really, the book we're reading, Atomic Habits, where we talked about the point and call and point, or point and call, however they said it, but like you point to something, like you leave your house. I got my keys, got my kids, got this, let's go, right? And so for me to just say stop, it is a reinforcement of, okay, stop what you're doing, go do this. Focus on something else right now, because you're not being productive. And for me, I want to be about my purpose. I want to make choices to honor my purpose. We talked about that before, but the idea that I want to do that. And so I just have to say stop, just turn it off and move on to something that you can actually do something about. And actually internally, that helps me to say that, because now I know, okay, what you're going to focus on now is really important and it matters. Do this instead of that.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, it's paying attention and naming whatever.
Out loud?
Actually,
out loud?
No.
Thought you were going to join me for a minute.
No, I'm not doing it out loud. But I think that's the hardest thing is often I will have spent a lot of internal energy. I do relate to the fact that it can be a very internal thing that maybe nobody else, it's not like I actually am running around the house or screaming, but there's just this internal thing happening. And the tricky thing is paying attention to the fact that that's happening and then naming what really matters, because often I find that it's because there is something that is really bothering me and my peacemaking mode is kicking in, and so I'm just trying to ignore and like smooth. So I'm trying to just make it not be a thing. And if I can actually go back and admit, even if it's something that's really big and truly is a problem, if I can name what that problem is or what I'm angry about, because I don't like being angry, but if I can name what it is, then that helps set me up for figuring out a path forward that's not useless.
You know, thoughts?
No, that's it.
So the amp wheel is when we get all riled up about a topic, and it can something that can trigger us. I hate using that word trigger. There's a lot of other connotation now with that word trigger, but something that can ignite something in you, and it causes you to spin internally, whether it's emotional, mentally. But either you can't right now or don't have the capacity at this moment to do that. You need to be focused on something else, and you have to. I have to constantly say stop. Focus on this because this matters at this moment in time. And that's how I get off the amp wheel.
Yeah, I would probably define it as using a lot of either mental, emotional, or physical energy in an unproductive way. When you're spinning, expending a lot of energy in any one of those ways that is very unproductive and is not actually achieving something that matters to you.
Okay. Well, I want to know what other people think about our new phrase, the amp wheel. Maybe that amp wheel will be all over the internet. Maybe it'll go viral. But I think it's a way for us to help think about these topics and how we feel about them. So I want to know what people out there think about the amp wheel. It's our phrase. We copyrighted it, so don't steal it.
I don't want it, so anybody else can take it. If you would like to take my amp wheel.
Well, the concept of amp wheel, I think people are on it, but we call it the amp wheel. And we hope that just listening to our conversation can help you, because we want to basically just share our life and what we're going through with people. So thanks for joining us. And for this episode of Conversation with the Browns, I think our next episode is going to be about
what? You're looking
what is mine to do? Like the idea of, I think this is a perfect segue into, we can be on the amp wheel about this and spinning out of control, but how do we take that and figure out, okay, let me stop. If this may be it, maybe this amp wheel's got me somewhere where I need to do something about this, and what can I do? Because I can't do everything. I can't do everything that I have an inkling to do because I don't have enough time, energy, or resources for them. But there is something I think is mine to do. So we'll talk about that in the next episode. And hopefully you guys join us for the next episode of Life with the Browns. If you want to know more about us, again, visit our website, lifewiththebrowns.com. Our next episode of Conversations with the Browns. I made a mistake. There's one for the year.
That's pretty good if you made it to August and this is
made
your
first mistake. Yeah. No. Visit our website, lifewiththebrowns.com. You can also listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Store, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And guess what? We will soon be on Prime.
Look, wherever you find podcasts.
There we go. Wherever you find podcasts, go listen to them. And also on YouTube. And again, if you love to sponsor what we do, be a part of what we do, visit lifewiththebrowns.com and check out our Patreon page where some of you have just watched this behind the scenes video. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully join us next time for Conversations with the Browns. You want to say peace?
No, that's your thing.
But you should do it. I think it's cool.
I always feel like that's how you should end it, because you end
peace!
Yeah. See, but I can't do that.
You can try.
You and Evan.
Yeah, Evan does a good job. You go, peace!
He's really cute.